Thank you, Hans-Peter. And next we will have some 5 minutes for direct questions and questions for regarding your presentation. There are some questions that we had collected from previous through the enrollment, and the question of scalability, we're underlining the need for personal contact and connection and speaking with the farmers, but how your approach could be scaled up to a larger group of food producers, thinking, for example, other countries where there might not be so solid communities where farmer-to-farmer exchange can work.
Yes, yeah, thank you for the question, Maria. If you don't mind, I would just explain shortly our method for upscaling. In fact, when we implement these methods, we create triads. So that means we have 3 farmer families that form one peer group, and they have to control each other, and the success of each farmer is interlinked to the success of the 2 others. So as we link the global community to the local community with paying carbon credits, farmers get paid in our system, get paid for this action. But as we have to certify the success is dependent on the success of the 3 participants in one group. So that creates a small dynamic, and it creates experience. And this is for the first year. In the second year, each of the 3 in one triad partners and has to form a new triad, either in the same village or in a neighboring village, and help a new triad, new 3 farmer families, to copy and to adapt the same systems. So, and after 1 year, this new 3, they do the same and partner each a new 3. So that means we can triple from 1 year to the others. So that scales in a human way up, but it creates quite a long dynamic. And I think working with these triad systems that we developed with psychologists is probably prone to work also in other countries, as these farmers, they select the 3 that work with them. So it's not forced that you have to work with this family or that family that you may like or not, but they select it, and so we hope that it can extend.
Okay, thanks, Hans-Peter. Thanks, Simone. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just about to say that that's very interesting, and it kind of triggered me some other questions, picking them up from the questions that we already collected. Changing practices is something which takes a cost. I mean, and generally one of the issues with farmers is that they have to bear all the risks of changing the practices. It seems to me that you were able to understand a way to find a way to liaise with farmers so that they were able to choose one practice or more than that, and then become an ambassador for that. So which kind of incentives, which kind of mechanisms did you use to make farmers participate, basically?
Yeah, I think that is, as I said in the presentation, in fact, climate change is also a huge chance for developing robust systems, because we really have to interconnect the global community with the local communities, those that cause climate change to those that could avoid it or work against it. So what was the beginning is that we created a pool of people that pay for their carbon emissions a fair price, like $35 per ton. And then we calculate the carbon effect that the farmers have with their new agronomic methods. And so we can pay or distribute these carbon credits to the farmers, which is only an incentive in a certain way. It is quite substantial money for most of the rural people, but in fact we only use this money as seed money to establish new agronomic systems that then pay themselves and for themselves. So if you look to this last slides, in fact the economic benefit after 3 years of a forest garden system exceeds by factor 20 the credits that they get for the carbon payment. But without the carbon payment in the beginning, they would not have the money to establish the systems.
Thank you very much. Then one of our participants, Paul Anderson, was basically wondering whether 1 year of work is enough. As you mentioned that you basically do before the splitting, you take 1 year.
In a certain way, it doesn't matter so much. This time scale you can adapt wherever you establish it. When you work in the tropics, and usually there are 2 periods in the year when you would plant trees, and that you can see the success after 1 year, and you can measure if, for example, on the tree survival rate. So what we have, for example, if less than 90% of the planted trees survive, they will not get carbon credits. So that is strong incentive for the tree aid to work together, because if one of the 3 fail in this 90% rate, the 2 others don't get carbon credits neither. So so for us it's this 1 year period, because usually these trees and then the cover crops are planted during the rainy season, and after 1 year you can measure the success. But if you work like in continental climates with only 1 growing season, then that might be a longer time needed to see the success. In fact, it is absolutely linked to the success of the introduced method, because otherwise farmers would have would not like to multiply the ideas. If it works, they are motivated to show to others. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter anyway.
Okay. Then you referred to to partnering with psychologists. I think that's very interesting, and that's something that we rarely are told. So even though I think there may be lots of benefits to actually work much closely with them in terms of behavioral change, etc. So can you maybe tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, that it is something to improve on. We started last year to take some consultancy from psychologists on group dynamics, and it was them who told us about this very well-known triad system in psychology, and we picked it up right away and tested it, and it is. It needs maintenance, because in the beginning the farmers don't see why they should stick so closely with the success of the neighbor. But in a certain way, this is also a chance to create this necessary common dynamic, because that's something we can only achieve together, and to increase the contact between the farmers is also to increase the exchange and the observation, and the observation is necessary to adapt the system and to see where it goes wrong, or because it's clear the farmers have finally to develop their system. We can give them help to show what probably helps and it works, but in every farm situation, this will be different, and that needs observation and adaptation, and that's much easier to be done. More eyes are looking like from a neutral point of view. When you work alone, you tend to cheat on yourself. You develop something that that should work, and you don't want to see that it does not work. But your neighbor has a clearer point of view on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Hans Peter. I think you made very interesting points, and we will